Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Matsamo nasti papatma na paradhi cha kaschana parihare pilajjame kim bruve purushottama. Bhumau skalitapadanam bhumireva avalambanam tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabho. Govinda vallabhe radhe prarthaye tvamaham sada tvadiyam iti janatu govindo mam tvaya saha. Radha radhita radhesha radhika pranavallabha Radha Ramana Vande Tvam Radhika Prema Nirjita. So, looks like everybody is settled. That's good news. So, can we look up 422, please? So, kindly repeat after me. Yadrichalabha santushto Dvandvatito vimatsaraha Samaha siddhava siddhaucha Kritvapi na nibhadyate. Yadrichalabha santushto Dvandvatito vimatsara Samasiddhava siddhaucha Kritvapi na nibhadyate. Kindly repeat after me. Yadricha, out of its own accord. Labha, with gain. Santushta, satisfied. Dvandva, duality. Atitaha, surpassed. Vimatsaraha, free from envy. Samaha, steady. Siddhau, in success. Asiddhau, in failure. Cha, also. Kritva, doing. Api, although. Na, never. Nibhadyate, becomes affected. Kindly repeat after me. He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A Krishna-conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as in his power, and he is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady in both in success and failure. These are visible signs when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. So Krishna here is saying, Yadricha Labha Santushto. The word here, there are three words there. First word is Yadricha. Second word is Labha, gain. And Santushtaha means satisfied. So here Krishna is saying, when you talk of Yadricha, which means whatever comes of its own accord. Now, the question might come, what do you mean by whatever comes of its own accord? Maybe I can just sit at home and look in the mailbox. Perhaps I will get a check of $2 million one day. Or, whatever. The point here is what is of its own accord. Krishna is saying here is that there is something called destiny, or there is something called higher powers that are going to give you what is your due. Now, you might think this is bogus. I mean, look, you work hard, you make stuff, but the point is, how many people are working hard? Are they making quote-unquote stuff? I mean, how many people actually start a business saying that within 1 year I'll go bankrupt? That's my vow. Or who goes in the morning saying that, I'll meet with a fatal accident today? Everybody wants to be happy and wealthy and so on and so forth. But there is a certain amount of predetermined gains that a person can get. On the other hand, people are surprised. That guy, he became so rich. He was totally like a no good for nothing person. And look at him now. Or in India, actually there were people, businessmen, who were illiterate. They couldn't even sign their own check. Seriously, if you don't know how to read or write, you will think you're gone, right? If you go for an interview, and then they will say, okay, how much did you study? Not so much. Oh, how much of reading do you know? Not so much. Do you read at all? Not so much. Maybe you can write? Not so much. And then you will think that that person has practically no hope in life. But there are cases in India where people don't know how to read or write, and yet they have scholars working for them, deeply intelligent people who know how to read it, poets working for them. It's just the nature of material existence that you are placed in certain situation, and the destiny is going to come of its own accord. If you can say to someone, oh, this person is very intelligent. Why? Oh, what did he do? He got into Harvard. Oh, amazing. And then that guy dropped out of Harvard and started doing his own thing, whatever. Initially, people must have said, this person is totally useless. I mean, what life is it? You got into Harvard, and then you kind of dropped out of Harvard. What were you thinking? And that guy is Bill Gates. The point is, you are there at the right place at the right time. That destiny often is understood to be that I won't do anything. But there are nuances to destiny, but the topic today is not about destiny, but the topic is today about satisfaction. How to be satisfied with what comes of its own accord. Some people have asked me on that one point, what do you mean? I mean, can't I work really hard and do all sorts of legal and somewhat illegal stuff and get stuff? And there are people who actually do that. But Krishna is saying that if you do that, you'll become bound. Karmani nani badhyate. Only a person who's satisfied with the gain that comes of its own accord, he is not entangled. But if you are trying to grab, then you are entangled in this material world. Okay, so what's wrong? We'll get to the logistics of that. But questions, comments, anything before we kind of go ahead? A lot of people are making comments, but I can't hear them. All right. You had a question? Yes, Priyanka Mataji, please. Sorry, Hare Krishna Mataji, you have to just switch it on. Is showing the green or the orange button? There we go.
So my question is that how do we know that when it is coming out of its own accord and when I am actually working for it? Excellent
question. We'll cover it. Hold that thought. We'll cover it as we go along. It's a good thing. So for example, like, I don't read at all for the exam. And I start reading just a couple of hours before. Today we have the Bhakti Vaibhava exam, but I'm not alluding to anything like that. But you read 2 hours before the exam, you start opening the books. All through the semesters, you've been playing ping pong or video games or whatever. And then 2 hours before the exam, you really start cramming up stuff. And then, I don't know, you're lucky somehow those 2 hours, whatever you studied, actually came in the exam. Or in those 2 hours, nothing came in the exam and you flunked. And later you said, it's destiny. What can I do? So, the point is that we do our best. Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book, it was in connection with the story of Kamsa and Devaki. As we know the story of how Devaki married Vasudev. And who was driving their chariot back home? Kamsa. And a voice told him in the sky what? That you'll be rich, go home. No, the 8th child, kill you. And then what did Kamsa say? That's okay, no problems, let's go ahead. No, he was about to take his sword and kill Devaki. And then Kamsa and Vasudev used all sorts of diplomacy to convince Kamsa that, and then we know the story of how it goes. The danger is not from Devaki, it's from the 8th child, and every child that is born to us, I'll hand it over. And in that connection, Srila Prabhupada writes, a person should try his very best. If it doesn't happen, then we should realize that, Krishna has to also agree to our plan. So, the rule of thumb usually I kind of think is 3. Try 3 times. And if 3rd time doesn't work out, then you can move on instead of wasting efforts. But that number is something, it's not ordained in any Vedic scriptures. Because that's the where that number came, or where I am particularly kind of drawn towards is that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, once he goes to the house of Srivas Thakur, and he looks around, he says, Srivas, it looks like you don't go to office every day at 9 o'clock. I don't see you working on your laptop day and night. Yet you have a pretty large family. So how do you maintain? And Srivas's answer is, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, what do you mean by clapping thrice? And he says again, Srivas, I don't understand. This is Kali Yuga. If you don't run hither and thither and work day and night and take offshore calls, you will never make money. He says that, Srivas says that if for 3 times or 3 times I don't get my meal, then I'm going to take my life in Ganges. By Krishna's mercy, I'm getting everything I want. And then Mahaprabhu says to him that even if Lakshmi Devi has to go around with a begging bowl, you still will never be bereft of all the necessities. I'll personally take care of you. So that number 3 came from that particular thing. Try best, thrice at least, and then see what happens. Maybe we need to refine. If I did a mistake, if I did some endeavor and it didn't work out, then maybe what did I do wrong? You put in a half-hearted effort and they say, oh, God is just, is not cooperating. Or it shouldn't have happened. So at least thrice. That's what I kind of think. Is that helpful? Yeah. So what is opposite of being satisfied? Dissatisfied. So what are some of the sources of dissatisfaction? Wealth. Manjari, please take the mic and tell and let us know what do you think, why that came up, and then what are your thoughts on wealth?
I think peer pressure, basic necessities of life, so that can cause dissatisfaction for many people. Right.
So when you compare yourself with others, then that can be a source of dissatisfaction. And that's why primarily the people on the Facebook are depressed. That's what I hear. There are the studies going on. Don't quote me on that. I didn't start that study, and I have nothing against Facebook per se. What else? What else could be? Peers. Comparing yourself with peers can be a source of dissatisfaction, and that can it extend to work? When you see that, really, that guy, that fellow, he came and asked me how to do stuff. Now he's my manager. Source of dissatisfaction. Then what else? Expectations. Tadya Seva Prabhu. Yes, go ahead.
So when you expect something to be, you have an expectation, and that expectation doesn't get, fulfilled.
That expectation doesn't get fulfilled, either through a family member or work or...
Yeah, anything, failures.
Right.
You fail in something, you are expecting, you will succeed in something, but instead you failed in that thing, and that can be a source of misery, unhappiness or dissatisfaction. And failure to achieve targets. You expected a target you achieve some sort target, but you again failed in that achieving that target. So there are these things that can...
So achieving targets, who sets the targets? You set or someone else?
The person who is dissatisfied.
Who dissatisfied? Okay. I'm just asking. Because if I set my own target, I know Shraddha for a fact runs, she runs every day to keep herself fit. But for a person who never runs and the target is to complete marathon next week, then you'll be dissatisfied because after 2 miles your legs give away probably. You never ran throughout your life and now you want to run a marathon. So, yeah. That's a nice point. What else? What else could be a source? For people who are... Okay, Prashant. Veera Prashant Prabhu.
Yeah. Not having a right purpose and goal, I feel...
Oh, nice. Very nice. Disturbance also comes from a lack of goal in life.
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. And then what about those who are single? Maybe for those who are seeking pleasure in relationships, and the expectation of relationship, very, very high scale. He's the perfect one for me. And so the opposite gender also says he is the perfect or she is the perfect. And then perfect into perfect is minus perfect. Then what else? Family? Family? Is that source of sometimes dissatisfaction? Yeah. Okay, these are the material sources of dissatisfaction. Are there any spiritual sources of dissatisfaction? Now, newcomers might say, what are you talking? Spiritual means everything spiritual is great. We should never be dissatisfied spiritually. But you can hold that thought. We'll come to that little later. Because let's kind of go ahead with that. Let's turn to the Bhagavatam, 8th canto, 19th chapter. Let's see what Krishna has to say about satisfying or being dissatisfied. All right, so let me give a background before this story. The demons and the demigods, they had a fight. And in this case, the demons were victorious and they were ruling the entire universe. And who was the king of the demons? Bali Maharaj was the king of the demons. And he was ruling the entire universe. And who is the mother of demigods? Aditi, excellent, thank you. She felt that her position or the position of her sons has become weak. Now imagine if a mother is at home and the son has been kicked out by a loan shark and is living homeless on the streets. Every mother's heart will be filled with anxiety. You'll be like, and that son was not a homeless to begin with. I mean, he was the king, and now he's become homeless. Imagine the president of USA having your own palace, and then all of a sudden you are living in the subway of New York, trying to putting this homeless stuff. Your heart will really, her heart was really very, very dissatisfied. So she said to her husband, Kashyapa, she said, please, I need some help. My sons, their opulent position has been usurped by the demons, and now they are living in poverty, and help me out here. So Kashyapa says, look, he doesn't say, they had mystic powers at that point of time. He doesn't say, I'll create another planet and I'll give it to your son Indra. He says, you should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when you please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then all your desires will be satisfied. She says, okay, I agree to your proposal. Tell me, how should I satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And Kashyapa, he gives list of things to do. Technically, it is called Payovrata, which entails some austerities for a certain period of time, which she very strictly follows. And after that period of 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in front of Aditi. And he says to her that, I know why you are here. This is another point. One lesson we learn from here is, we be honest with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It's like she had a problem. And the Supreme Lord came, all of a sudden she didn't change her purpose. Even though everyone knows that you don't approach Krishna with material desires. You don't approach Krishna with saying, give me some money, give me some power, give me some position. He'll give. Amongst our devotees, we have this notion that somehow, it's kind of sinful, or even to think of Krishna, approaching Krishna with any material desire. But the idea is, one has to be honest before Krishna. The overriding principle, my desire is there, that is all right, but I cannot be anything but honest before Krishna when he comes, or when I approach him in the altar. Because the Lord is so wonderful that when he gives in such a way that you don't ask again. He'll satisfy your desires. Because when Lord personally gives your material prosperity, nobody can take it away. No demigods dare touch it. Because they know this is the prasad of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so nobody can touch it. And you are happy with that material prosperity. You are not only enjoying life in this world, but also you are not forgetting Krishna. And that's the way he will give material prosperity. But the devotee internally regrets that I should not have asked him that. Dhruva Maharaj, he went with one quest to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what was that? to get a kingdom better than his great-grandfather who had the best planet in the universe. Like, he has a Mercedes, blah, 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 I'll have a bigger car than him. And then he was not to be dissuaded by any cost. We know the story of how Narada, he met him while he was walking. Oh, 5-year-old boy, are you taking your mother's word that seriously? No, you should go and play. You're kids, you shouldn't take it so seriously. And Dhruva said, sir, if you can help me, please help me. Otherwise, please don't waste my time. And Narada was astonished. He was looking at this boy's determination. Because in those days, it was not like, there was hiking and then there was camps and then there was some pizza place in that hiking place where you could have pizza and so on and so forth. It was a jungle. And then there were actual animals in the jungle. And then Narada said, wow, you're so determined. And he gives him the mantra that you should please the Supreme Lord like this. And Dhruva Maharaj, in 6 months, he pleases the Supreme Lord and Supreme Lord gives him darshan. And then at the end, when he gets what as a result of his pleasing Supreme Lord? He gets the latest robot toy. He got Dhruva planet. And that is even bigger than or higher than Brahma's planet. All the planets around this world, it is mentioned, they go around the Dhruva planet and that it is indestructible. When even in the material universe is destroyed, it's not destroyed. When the Lord gives him that benediction and leaves, Dhruva is lamenting. Did he say, oh goodness gracious, he can give 1 planet, maybe I should have asked him for 3. Resale value. But Dhruva actually said, here was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whom the yogis rarely get to see. And I, by the dint of my austerities, satisfied him in 6 months. And then he came. He is the personality who can, within a fraction of a second, destroy my cycle of birth and death since I have been experiencing since time immemorial. And I asked him, give me more headaches of this material world. And he says, the demigods. And in any case, the point is, the Lord is, Bhagavatam is not the story of pure devotees all the time. It is the story of the devotees who were true to their situation, and the Lord was reciprocating. Kashyapa, when he came, Kardama, when he worshipped the Supreme Lord, what did he ask? Maybe better than Dhruva, because Krishna can give, right? He can give a planet. 1 house we are worrying in Bay Area, he can give an entire planet. So what did Kardama ask? Big mansion? Maybe he asked for a wife. He says, Krishna, I shouldn't be asking you this. This is my situation, I need a wife. And the Lord said, animals also get wives. They have spouses and they have children. You called me all the way to get a wife? The Lord never said like that. He said, I know you want a wife. 3rd day from now, you will have the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. She'll come here and then you accept the hand. So Krishna is very kind in reciprocating with his devotees. So one just has to be completely open with Krishna. He knows everything and he is the most gentle personality to deal with your issues. In Bhagavatam also, now if you can see here, Aditi, she pleased Krishna in 2-3 weeks' time and Krishna appeared before her and he said, I know what your problem is. She didn't even say anything. The Bhagavatam says, as soon as the Lord appeared, she didn't say, oh, Krishna, thank you so much. She didn't go like that. She's like, she offers prayers to the Lord. First of all, she sees the Lord, tears are flowing through her eyes. And she's like, her voice is choking up just out of love of God. And then, somehow or other, she musters courage to offer prayers to the Lord. And Bhagavatam has how many? At least 10, 20 verses must be there, right? In prayers? No, there are 3 verses of Aditi that she offers prayers to the Lord. And the Lord says, I know your problem. Your sons are now living in a very dire situation. But please understand that I cannot help it. The Lord says I cannot help it. Oh, okay. Really? Okay, tell me more about it. If Krishna can't help, who can help? He says that right now, the demons have pleased the Brahmanas. And they are living under the protection of Brahmanas. Brahmanas who are Vaishnavas are so powerful that even Lord will not command them to give up the protection of the demons. He says, yeah, I know this situation, so please bear with me. I will come as your own son, as Vamana, and then I will take care of this situation. So Vamandev appears to please Aditi and to help the demigods, and he comes. The previous chapter, it describes how Vamana was, all the ritualistic ceremonies were performed for him, like thread ceremony and all the other ceremonies were performed. He heard that Bali Maharaj was performing an Ashwamedha, and then he went to that site where Bali Maharaj was performing his sacrifice. And Vamandev goes to that place where Bali Maharaj is performing his sacrifice. Bali Maharaj receives him with all politeness. He praises him, oh Brahmana. He praises him with no words. He offers him sweet words. He offers him a place to sit. And he worships Vamandev. And Vamandev is very pleased with Bali Maharaj's way of receiving him, his etiquette. So let's read a little bit here. Can you, Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu, please read the translation and then give it to Nama Smaranam Prabhu, and we can go, and then Shraddha, in that way we can go. Just the translations, please.
Shukadeva Goswami continued, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vamandev, heard Bali Maharaj speaking in this pleasing way, he was very satisfied, for Bali Maharaj had spoken in terms of religious principles. Thus the Lord began to praise him.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O King, you are indeed exalted, because your present advisors are the Brahmanas, who are descendants of Bhrigu, and because your instructor for your future life is your grandfather, the peaceful and venerable Prahlada Maharaj. Your statements are very true, and they completely agree with religious etiquette. They are in keeping with the behavior of your family, and they enhance your reputation.
Next translation. Just go translation. Yeah, till we come to the few places. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Shraddha. Third.
I know that even until now, no one taking birth in your family has been poor-minded or miserly. No one has refused to give charity to Brahmanas, nor after promising to give charity has anyone failed to fulfill his promise.
Okay, just a minute. So those who didn't give for the Kalash, take note. All right, go ahead.
O King Bali, never in your dynasty has the low-minded king been born, who upon being requested has refused charity to Brahmanas in holy places or a fight to Kshatriyas on a battlefield. And your dynasty is even more glorious due to the presence of Prahlada Maharaj, who is like the beautiful moon in the sky.
It was in your dynasty that Hiranyaksha was born. Carrying only his own club, he wandered the globe alone, without assistance, to conquer all directions, and no hero he met could rival him.
Okay, that's fine. It's fine, good.
When delivering the earth from the Garbhodaksha sea, Lord Vishnu in his incarnation as a boar killed Hiranyaksha, who had appeared before him. The fight was severe, and the Lord killed Hiranyaksha with great difficulty. Later, as the Lord thought about the uncommon prowess of Hiranyaksha, he felt himself victorious indeed.
Okay, good. Thank you, Natalie.
When Hiranyakashipu heard the news of his brothers being killed, with great anger he went to the residence of Vishnu, the killer of his brother, wanting to kill Lord Vishnu.
Seeing Hiranyakashipu coming forward bearing a trident in his hand, like personified death, Lord Vishnu, the best of all mystics and the knower of the progress of time, thought as follows.
Wheresoever I go, Hiranyakashipu will follow me, as death follows all living entities. Therefore, it is better for me to enter the core of his heart, for then, because of his power to see only externally, he will not see me.
So, one point here. It seems that Lord Vishnu is fearful of Hiranyakashipu from the statement. Oh, Hiranyakashipu is coming with a trident, and Lord Vishnu is like immediately left his own place. The acharyas say that, though it is fear, but at that time he didn't want to act, and he didn't want to face Hiranyakashipu. So the Lord left him like that, and just entered. So, yeah, go ahead.
Lord Vamanadeva continued, O king of the demons, after Lord Vishnu made this decision, he entered the body of his enemy Hiranyakasipu, who was running after him with great force. In a subtle body, inconceivable to Hiranyakasipu, Lord Vishnu, who was in great anxiety, entered Hiranyakasipu's nostril along with his breath.
The great anxiety here is not that he was really anxious of his own safety, but it's mentioned is he was anxious about Hiranyakashipu. And please understand that Hiranyakashipu was actually ordained by the Lord to he's Jai Vijay, right? So they came here. So, that Lord had that anxiety that he's my former doorkeeper, and then he's coming towards me. So that is also the anxiety of the Lord. When your son or daughter goes to jail for some time, then you are in anxiety when you try to receive him. So not that he was anxious that Hiranyakashipu will kill me. Lord Vishnu. Anyways, just go ahead. Next, please. Natalie, please, yeah.
Upon seeing that the residence of Lord Vishnu was vacant, Hiranyakashipu began searching for Lord Vishnu everywhere. Angry at not seeing him, Hiranyakashipu screamed loudly and searched the entire universe, including the surface of the earth, the higher planetary systems in all directions, and all the caves and oceans. But Hiranyakashipu, the greatest hero, did not see Vishnu anywhere.
Unable to see him, Hiranyakashipu said, I have searched the entire universe, but I could not find Vishnu, who has killed my brother. Therefore, he must certainly have gone to that place from which no one returns. In other words, he must now be dead.
Hiranyakashipu's anger against Lord Vishnu persisted until his death. Other people in the bodily concept of life maintain anger only because of false ego and the great influence of ignorance.
So anyway, we can get into deeper. There's very subtle meanings in Bhagavatam, but it'll take a lot of time. But let's go ahead.
Your father Vicko, Virokana, the son of Maharaj Prahlada, was very affectionate towards Brahmanas, although he knew very well that it was the demigods who had come to him in the dress of Brahmanas. At their request, he delivered to them the duration of his life.
You also have observed the principles followed by great personalities who are householder Brahmanas, by your forefathers, and by great heroes who are extremely famous for their exalted activities.
O King of Daityas, from your majesty, who come from such a noble family and who are able to give charity munificently, I ask only 3 places of land to the measurement of my steps.
So, what does Vamana ask? 3 paces of land, but then he says, according to my step. So that is the thing here. All right. Actually, can you open the purports, please? Thank you. Next, please.
Lord Vamanadeva wanted 3
No. So next verse.
O King of Daityas. Okay.
Yeah, good.
O King, controller of the entire universe, although you are very munificent and are able to give me as much as land as I want, I do not want anything from you that is unnecessary. If a learned Brahman takes charity from others only according to his needs, he does not become entangled in sinful activities.
So I need the purport for your priest. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Please look at the purport. Because try to understand this. This is a very deep, meaning here. Purport. A Brahmana or sannyasi is qualified to ask charity from others, but if he takes more than necessary, he is punishable. No one can use more of the Supreme Lord's property than necessary. Lord Vamanadeva indirectly indicated to Bali Maharaj that he was occupying more land than he needed. In the material world, all distresses are due to extravagance. One acquires money extravagantly and also spends it extravagantly. Such activities are sinful. All property belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all living beings who are sons of the Supreme Lord have the right to use the Supreme Father's property, but one cannot take more than necessary. This principle should especially be followed by the Brahmanas and Sannyasis who live at the cost of others. So, in the modern context, we see so many so-called spiritual people. They have accumulated huge wealth and properties and followers and so on and so forth. And essentially, if you see, they don't do any work, but they actually live at the cost of their so-called followers. And they have, millions of dollars or thousands of crores of rupees in India, and they have, that's completely sinful. And one should actually be associating with those godly people who are strictly following this. Their whole purpose of Brahmanical or sannyasis is to spread the knowledge of Krishna without kind of wanting to build up their own bank balance. And if your goal is only to build up the bank balance and to get more and more money, or coerce your followers to fund your lifestyle, then it's a serious problem. Because I read a news article somewhere that one of the pastors of a particular church in a particular state in the United States has been asking his followers to fund his own private aircraft, which costs $50 million. And his argument is, God wants me to have a plane. God is saying here, don't have a plane. So the idea is, at least when you are in spiritual life, then when you read Srila Prabhupada's books, you understand genuinely who is actually a sadhu who is here for my welfare rather than for his own financial welfare or her own financial welfare. So sometimes it does break your heart, and people kind of say that, everything okay back there? Thank you. Many people come and say to me that, look, this so and so called person, they started a so-called spiritual or religious organization, and it's such a hoax, or their people are being gullible and looted. And at least if you have an idea, then you are able to distinguish, saying that these are not a genuine organization. They are not there for helping me spiritually, but to exploit me for their own purpose. Right? So it's so clear here. And then Lord says that if you are living at the cost of others, and if you take more than what you need, then you are liable to be punished by sinful activities. So Krishna is so clear here. So the satisfaction actually that comes from being happy with what you have. There is no greater satisfaction in this world. And there is absolutely no one who can disturb you with whatever money they have, because knowing very well that Krishna has given the due allotment to everyone, and if you are not happy, then Vamandev says next. Let's go to the next verse, please.
O King, Bali Maharaj said, O son of Brahman, your instructions are as good as those of learned and elderly persons. Nonetheless, you are a boy and your intelligence is insufficient. Thus, you are not very prudent in regard to your self-interest.
It's like going to one of the wealthiest persons on this planet, and when that person says, you have pleased him, and he says, what do you want? I want 50 cents. So, Bali Maharaj is saying, look, you're speaking well, I like your words, but you're just a 5-year-old boy, you don't know how much you want. So you're not very intelligent. That's what, actually the Acharyas have said. Anyways, we can go on and on into deep of the Bhagavatam, but let's go ahead. Please, next verse.
I am able to give you an entire island because I am the proprietor of 3 divisions of the universe. You have come to take something from me and have pleased me by your sweet words, but you are asking only 3 paces of land. Therefore, you are not very intelligent.
O small boy, one who approaches me to beg something should not have to ask anything more anywhere. Therefore, if you wish, you may ask from me as much as land as will suffice to maintain you according to your needs.
Thank you.
The personality of Godhead said, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses are uncontrolled.
We can take this home today. The personality of Godhead said, O my dear king, even the entirety of whatever there may be within the 3 worlds to satisfy one's senses cannot satisfy a person whose senses is uncontrolled. Please, let's do the purport. It's such a profound statement, actually. Purport: the material world is an illusory energy to deviate the living entities from the path of self-realization. Anyone who is in this material world is extremely anxious to get more and more things for sense gratification. Actually, however, the purpose of life is not sense gratification but self-realization. Therefore, those who are too addicted to sense gratification are advised to practice mystic yoga system or Ashtanga yoga system consisting of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara and so on. In this way, one can control senses. The purpose of controlling senses is to stop one's implication in the cycle of birth and death. As stated by Rishabhadev, Nunam pramakta kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya aprinoti nasadhu manye yata atmanoyam asannapi kleshada ashadeha. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kinds of sinful activities. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body, although temporary, which is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. So you can see that this material body that we get is actually a manifestation of my past karma. The material body does not get disease. The material body is a disease. Seriously, because based on my past work, I get a body that is suitable to my mentality. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavita. He says, oh Arjuna, whatever you are thinking at the time of death, that you will be in the next life without fail. So this body is just a manifestation of our desires and of our past karma. Now, if that body is like that, we are in a world that actually has not meant for us. We are not belonging to this material world, but we are in this material world. On top of it, we are trying to find happiness here. And for those who don't have uncontrolled senses, they are really trying to find too much happiness. It's like, a person sees a beautiful form of a young female on the screen, on the movie theater. And then out of uncontrolled agitation, you try to go and embrace that personality on the screen. The material world is like that. The more you hanker after it, the more this material world makes you think that there is something in for you, but actually the more dissatisfied you get. And you might think, this guy is talking bogus. But just look around. Just see the world, how the world behaves. You might see that that particular person, had I married that personality, my life would have been perfect. But if you actually read the lives of those personalities, not on the screen, you will see how miserable they are in their own life. If that was true, the person who actually married that particular person should have been the most happiest person on this entire planet. Right? So this satisfaction has to be inward. The more we try for external satisfaction, the more frustration. The material world is designed like that. It's nobody's fault. Please don't understand that it's somebody's fault. It's just Krishna has designed this material world like that. Otherwise, we'll never get out of this material world. If you think that this place is perfect, from the time I am born till the time I am die, I won't get any diseases. Everything will be happy. My wife will always listen to me, or my husband will always listen to me. My mother-in-law will be always sweet to me, and she'll cook stuff for me all the time. My boss, I don't work, but he'll give me promotions. Or she will give me promotions. The thing is, when you have these expectations in this life, unfortunately, this life is a different place. And the soul is not, the satisfaction is not here. The soul satisfaction is mainly through the process of spiritual life. Right? So, next verse, please. Because let's see, scroll down. Yes, Mataji, 1 minute. Scroll down, let's see if there is something in the purport that I wanted to mention. Therefore, the Vedic culture, if you see the one paragraph above, therefore the Vedic culture, if you can, yes, thank you. Therefore, the Vedic culture or the Brahminical culture teaches one how to be satisfied with possessing the minimum necessities of life. I have a question. Did our sages in the previous ages, were they intelligent or not? But they were only wearing dhotis. Modern people, we wear jeans. Where is the intelligence in that? One might question like that. Nothing to say against wearing jeans. Even I wear jeans. I don't wear dhoti to office. It will look very awkward. Or to jogging. But the thing is, they never invented jeans. Yes, Mate. Actually, Mataji, let me complete that thought, then I'll take hers and then I'll take yours. But just from a very practical, let's not get into the semantics of what the jeans are made of and what the dhotis are made of. I'll tell you a simple thing. Jeans, after a time, if you don't fit into it, you need to throw. But dhoti has no problem like that. On a very practical level, dhoti will never become too tight for you. Ever. On a very practical level. But so their idea was that to enjoy the body was not their priority of life. That's why the genes and the smartphones were not needed so much at that point of time. That was more of a spiritual, and they were happy. It's not like they were miserable. They were great. Please understand that some of these yogis, actually sages, they could see the future. They were trikalagnyas, means they could see the past, present and future. Vyasadeva could see the future. He didn't envy the people of Kali Yuga saying they are wearing jeans and having smartphones. They said we are happy with this because Kali Yuga is a whole other ball game, right? Anyways, so you had I'm sorry, you have to tell me your name and then you had a... Janki? Hare Krishna. You have to speak in the mic, Janki. This is the requirement.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. I can hear you, but the speaking was for the audience on the online.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my question is, if you're in the world, you're going to have some basic desires. You want to live, you want to eat some good food, you want to wear some good clothes. I understand that you want to draw the line, and as you get more spiritual, you'll automatically stop craving for things. But you also want to live your life. You're not just here just to fulfill your spiritual path. You're here to also enjoy life.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line?
Excellent. Thank you. Mate, you had a comment, or should I answer that? If you have your permission, then I'll answer that. Okay, thank you. Actually, in India we have this notion that you should not read Bhagavad Gita. Especially if young kids are reading Bhagavad Gita, parents get scared. They'll freak out. What's wrong with you? You're 17 and you're reading Bhagavad Gita. You should read when you are 70. You should enjoy life. Why? What is the biggest fear? Because you will lose interest in material existence altogether. But ironically, Arjuna wanted to actually not do work. In Bhagavad Gita, if you see, Arjuna wanted to go to forest and give up all his responsibilities. And Krishna actually said, that is incorrect, you have to fight this battle. And in the same Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that one has to work for the maintenance of one's body. Without maintaining, he says to Arjuna, you want to go and live in the forest, how will you maintain yourself? So you have to maintain your body. But the problem comes when bodily necessities override our spiritual needs. And to the point that they become overwhelming. And the balance would be that Bhagavatam says, maintain your body healthy. Srila Prabhupada writes in one of the purport that this body is temporary. And we talk too much about body, temporary, soul, eternal, so on and so forth. But the body, though temporary, is extremely valuable. Hrideham adyam sulabham sudurlabham. Bhagavatam says that this human body is extremely rare. And so you need to take care of it. But if taking care of the body is the overarching goal of your life, then you are missing the spiritual aspect of it. So there has to be that balance. And as you so rightly pointed out, when you spiritually advance, then you are at a point that the cravings on the material level are completely destroyed. And the good news with that, you don't have to work. I'm not making it up. Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Yet he says that for those who are satiated in self and who are completely self-satisfied, there is no duty to perform. So I'm not making it up. So if you get the point, right? So, and the other practical aspect is how in the modern life can you address the spiritual aspect of it, right? I mean, I have offshore calls. I have to work like 12 hours. And my peers are working 14 hours. Even though I work 12 hours, my boss says my performance is not that great. Modern Silicon Valley. And so you need to do whatever you need to do in that situation. But at the same time, the best way to advance in spiritual life in this age, lucky for us, is that by chanting the Maha Mantra. Let's all chant 3 times the Maha Mantra. We take a deep breath and really pray to Krishna. Forget our mortgages or our health or blood tests or mother-in-laws or whatever, H1Bs. Just forget anything for a minute. Just really fold your hands and just focus on the Mahamantra very deeply with all your sincerity. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Janki, in the modern age of Kali, just by chanting the names of God, you are performing a lot of spiritual activities. In fact, it's the only effective activity that's mentioned for this age. So, thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Mate.
Just wanted to comment about satisfaction and dissatisfaction. Those sages who had just the dhotis because they were satisfied. The modern man doesn't have satisfaction, so they keep on accumulating the same things over and over and over again. And in the universities, like in economics, you learn about the law of diminishing returns. If you buy a certain thing and you keep buying it again and again, there's going to come a time when you're going to snap and stop buying that thing. So why not just take the direct route of chanting Hare Krishna? Because the Beatles, when they chanted, they said when they stopped chanting, they felt like the lights went out. So that's so much satisfaction you can get from spiritual sound vibration, which you can't get from shopping or keeping buying the same jeans over and over again.
Thank you, Mataji. Excellent. Next, please. On one point though, on that, anyway, you brought that practical aspect. It also doesn't behoove that one doesn't take care in terms of not only the body, but also the other aspect of it. Body and relationship with the body. So for example, it's a body, it's okay, I can live anywhere. Let me look at the safest overpass in downtown San Jose. The thing is, you have to have certain practical aspects. I mean, even from the financial discipline or the time discipline or health routine discipline. These are all part of the balanced life to help us nurture our spiritual life. Because our body, without that body, we cannot actually perform devotional service. Let me give an example. I gave that example, so please forgive me those who already heard it. You like cars. In fact, you love them. And Anshu, don't mind, I pick you on. So Anshu loves his car. And it's future, okay? Okay. So he drives the car and he goes into home and he opens the garage. Garage door opens and he drives the car into the garage and closes the garage. And his wife, he's single yet, he's not married. His wife, she hears the garage door going up and down, but she says, Anshu has not come inside yet. What happened? She waits for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Don't come. So she opens the garage door and sees he's sitting there in the car. Hey Anshu, what are you doing in the car? Come home. No, I love this so much, I don't want to come out. This is mine. This is my life. And she'll immediately call 911 or a psychiatrist or whoever has a case maybe. That is one aspect. The second aspect is, Anshu has prematurely decided to give up everything. He realized that the world is just whatever, this is just nature, this is Maya. What is this car? What is this wife? What is this house? And he is driving the car one day to work thinking like that. And the service light comes up in the car saying that, look, oil change at blah, whatever. What car, what life, what oil, what change. He'll keep continuing like that. 1 year later, he is sitting with the steering wheel and the seat and the car is gone. The point is, it's an extreme, either ways is not advisable. In fact, at least Anshu has the option. He'll come, he'll realize, oh, okay, whatever, it was a mistake, I'll buy another car. I can't buy another body. I won't get a loaner body. This is the body I have, period, to kind of get perfection in life. So it's imperative that we do both to balance out. In the advanced states, please understand, the advanced state, you automatically will realize I'm not this body, and then you don't worry about taking care because it's already been taken care personally by Krishna. Ananyas chintayanto mam, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, ye jana paryupasate tesham nityaviyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyam. He says that those who constantly think of me, because the stage comes, if I constantly think of God, then how will I think of bank balance? Or how will I think of my health or my vitamins? Krishna says I will provide at that point of time. So it's a gradual stage that happens. One prematurely doesn't sit in the car all day long thinking this is mine, neither get completely neglected. At least most of us, include, at least I can say for myself, I'm on that stage where I have to balance both. Otherwise it's just foolishness. So there is one more aspect on this before I complete. So satisfaction, by nature I am a businessman, right? Or my job is a CEO of the company. You can't go to the board and say, all, be satisfied. You'll be fired. Or as a businessman, your tendency, it's in your blood to make money. The thing is, you have that dharma, you should do it, but do it morally. You can't be immoral or unethical with your approach. But you have to make money, so you can't be satisfied with the gains. It's a natural thing to get more gains, but not at the cost of your dharma or your ethics or morality. So those are the two aspects to the satisfaction part of it. Is that all right? We'll read the next chapter, next verse with purport. Aranga Gopikamachi, can you please read? Just the translation, please.
Which one?
922.
If I were not satisfied with 3 paces of land, then surely I would not be satisfied even with possessing one of the 7 islands, consisting of 9 varshas. Even if I possessed 1 island, I would hope to get others.
That's the nature of greed. If you see the purport, let's read the purport. Because there is no end to it. There is the dissatisfaction. Please understand, by materially trying to satisfy your dissatisfaction, you are not going to be satisfied. No purport. Thank you. Next, please. Okay. Yes. Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, quick question. At the start, you said that the Brahmanas, Bali Maharaj was protected. The demons were protected by the Brahmanas because Bali Maharaj served the Brahmanas, and these Brahmanas are Vaishnavas. So just wanted to understand, like Vaishnavas know that demigods are getting affected. So how one should take this perspective? Like, were they in Karma Kanda, or just want to?
Good question. Did everybody get Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu's question, or should I repeat? Okay. So actually, it's the reason is that previously Bali Maharaj satisfied and the demons satisfied the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas actually performed for them a yajna, a sacrifice by which they could defeat the demigods. And they defeated the demigods. And at that time, the demigods went and complained to Brahma. Brahmaji, we lost our homes, help us. He said, I can't do anything. Right now, they are protecting the Brahmanas are being, or rather the demons are being protected by the Brahmanas. Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu's question is, don't the Brahmanas realize that these are demons, and why help them in the first place? To win victories over the demigods, right? Is that the essence of your question?
Yeah, like also Vaishnavas were mentioned, so just wanted to understand that.
Right. So Krishna says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name deshosti na priyaha. So to that extent, the demons and the demigods are equal to the Supreme Lord. But what he does is, the modes of material nature, he turns them on. When the mode of passion is turned on and it is stronger, the demons are victorious. And the mode of goodness is turned on, the demigods are victorious. So it is a natural phase of the victories that go on. And the point here, the Lord wanted to say that I won't even go over the Brahmanas. When the Brahmanas give you protection, here the Lord did not fight with Bali Maharaj. He had to satisfy Aditi by helping her sons, but at the same time he had to fulfill his vow, saying that the Brahmanas are giving you protection. I cannot take anything from you. So what does he do? He begs. By begging is something you are giving me. I am not taking it. But if you give me, I'll take everything. The Lord is expert in arranging that. Is that helpful? Bhagavatam is a play like this. How Krishna Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu actually comes out in ways you can never understand. But thank you for your wonderful question. How are we doing all? Warm, cold, warm? Okay, we need to, temperature has to be a little reduced. Okay. Or increased, reduced. You have a question, Sutra Malik Prabhu? Please. Please, yes.
So Prabhu, I just wanted to mention my understanding of the material body and maintenance of anything, like any material, right? So I have like a rule of thumb that I follow, but it's definitely not perfect, but it kind of helps me. If you have to use it, you're obligated to maintain it. So like you can take anything like a car, you have to use it, you have to maintain it. Your body, you have to use it, you have to maintain it. So basically what I do is basically think about the amount of maintenance and the amount of time that I will invest in that maintenance, whether it's really worth it. Then it kind of helps me
Nice.
say
Wonderful.
that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So, should we continue? Or we should have a bhajan a little bit? Or because we have how much time more? 30 minutes? 35 minutes. Thank you. Because if you are supremely bored, you will say we have only 20 minutes. All right. We'll read there is no purport. So the next one, probably. The 923 doesn't have purport, right? Or 924? Did we read 923? Okay. All right. Next verse, please. Okay. Yes. Who wants to read? Who didn't get a chance to read? Tadiya Seva Prabhu. Translation, just the translation. 1924. And then we can go like that. Suvarna Gopika Mataji, Kumar Prabhu.
One should be satisfied with whatever he achieves by his previous destiny, for discontent can never bring happiness. A person who is not self-controlled will not be happy even with possessing the three worlds.
So this kind of tells a little bit about how the nature of, there is no way, even if you can get the idea that somehow or other, if I get that much position or that bank balance or that wife or that husband, it's impossible to be completely satisfied. In fact, it's mentioned here 3 worlds. Ironically, Arjuna also says the same thing. He is depressed in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. He says, even if I get the unrivaled sovereignty of the 3 worlds, I will not be happy. Modern depression kind of points out to this particular aspect of our own psyche, that people are so, as Mataji said, looking external for happiness, but that external will never satisfy you unless the happiness has to come from within. And the content or being deeply satisfied has to be a within activity, but it is not something that is going to come no matter how much you try externally. This is what is Lord Vamandev saying. If you can go up a little bit, there's a purport, 1924. There's a big purport. If that. Yeah. It's a very big purport. We'll read at least few paragraphs. Purport. If happiness is the ultimate goal of life, okay, whose ultimate goal of life is not happiness? Please raise your hand. All right, good. We are all on the same page. Glad. If happiness is the ultimate goal of life, one must be satisfied with the position in which he is placed by Providence. I'll repeat that again. If happiness is the ultimate goal of life, one must be satisfied with the position in which he is placed by Providence. Anshu had something to say. Go ahead. It seems like ironical statement, but true. How is it ironical?
One is satisfied with the position in which he is placed. Then then how can it's just ironical, right? I mean, you're looking for something, and then it's saying that just be satisfied in whatever you have.
So the irony can be resolved from the fact that unless there is a destiny that kind of places you in different places, and you are not the ultimate controller, then it can be resolved. But more often than not, this is kind of the point of frustration. Why my desires are not being fulfilled or not being thwarted? So that's where the problem comes. Yes, Ankur, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So when Indra was given the body of a hog, he was satisfied with his hog family. But that is considered to be something condemnable. So can you comment on that?
Sure. For those who are not familiar with the story, Indra is cursed by one of the sages to be born as hog. And he is born as a hog and he enjoys the hog life. And when the duration of the curse is over and the demigods come back and say, but your vacation time is over, come back now to work. He'll say, no, I'm very happy in this hog life. I really don't want to get out of this hog life. And then Ankur is saying isn't that being satisfied, and why it is not something that, why is it condemnable when a person is satisfied? That is first of all with a curse. And the second thing is, Indra is derelict in his duty if he doesn't come back, being completely overwhelmed by a body of a hog. See, it's a fall down for Indra, right? Imagine that you are the CEO of the company and the next day you become the janitor. People will congratulate you on your promotion. So Indra had a fall down like that. And to be satisfied in the body of a hog is something, a very base mode of ignorance. You are completely in darkness. How can you be satisfied? Right? So, but that's a different kind of satisfaction wherein that's a different kind of situation, but where now here you are trying to be externally trying to be happy or satisfied. But it's an internal thing that is being more described as. Is that helpful, Ankur? Or yes, you had more.
So there is some distinction between internal satisfaction versus external satisfaction.
Yes. Yeah. Internal means spiritual satisfaction, not on the bodily platform.
So what Prabhupada is mentioning in the first line, is it referring to the internal satisfaction or external?
Yes, internal satisfaction.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anshu and then the gentleman in the back. Go ahead, Anshu.
So actually I had the same question, same clarification actually. Is the happiness referring, which is referred here, material happiness? it's material happiness, not the spiritual happiness we are talking about, right?
No. So here is the thing. We are the spirit soul, right? And we are now encased in the body. And the body has certain desires which are not in line with spiritual soul. The goal here, Krishna is saying, is unless you bring back the mind that really wants to enjoy unlimitedly this material world, you as a soul will be dissatisfied. So, mind says, oh my God, had I married somebody else, my life would have been great. But that fact is that your mind is seeking happiness elsewhere, whereas Providence gave you something else. So better be happy, better be satisfied, better be content with what you have. Is that helpful? He and then, okay, your good name, sir?
Shivananda.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
I just had a comment actually. I mean, Krishna says that you will be very self-satisfied or content only when you are self-realized, right? So it's all about what is meant by self-realization, right? So when you talk about like...
You have to keep the mic close and then,
sure.
Yes, good.
So it's all about being self-realized, right? Once you become self-realized, then you become content and you are satisfied. So what is the self-realization? So self-realization, understanding that you are the soul, right? I mean, if you think that, okay, happiness, if you think I'm body, I'm mind, whatever, I'm intelligence, so you start satisfying that part of whatever you think. So if you always in the state where you are self-realized, where conscious always remembers who you are, like I'm a soul, part and parcel with God, I can only be complete when I take everything as myself, right? That's where you see everything as yourself. So it's all about being self-realized, where it says that every moment I have to be conscious of who I am. Once I realize I'm soul, then like material things really make any difference for me, right? So like whether it's like cold, whatever it is, happiness, distress, it doesn't really matter. My real state is Satchitananda state, right, by default. And, and any moment, the best gift I can get to myself is myself, right? Because I can experience my life because I exist.
Well, to an extent true, but the fact of the matter is that unless there is help from God, you cannot...
Yeah, because what I'm saying, I am just because of the God. I mean, without me, without God, I'm not there.
Exactly. So the idea is of spiritual awareness is to realize that relationship between the Jiva and the Paramatma.
That's like, this is all about, this is called self-realization. So once you self-realize, then there is no question of good or bad. There's duality, right?
Or twisting it in another way, once you are God realized, then you also become by default self-realized.
Yeah, it's all about that. So realizing yourself is nothing but realizing God.
Right? Thank you, Shivananda. Yes. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
That happiness is a rational thing. First of all, I want to point out. And the satisfaction is when you are in a comfortable position, you are thinking that you are satisfied, but it may not be the real satisfaction. So since Indra is in the hog life for some time, he is comfortable and adjusted with that. He is thinking that he is satisfied and happy, but it is not real satisfaction. And I want to make one more point. Like we should be satisfied with our material things. Whatever we have, we should be happy with that and we should be satisfied with that. And our spiritual thing we should not satisfy. We need to increase on the progress of that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a nice point. One of my God brothers, he says that you should compare with others, thinking that they are spiritually advanced and I am spiritually not advanced. And materially, you should always think that I am better than others. But dissatisfaction comes when you think opposite. You had sorry, your name?
My name is
Satish. Thank you, Satish. Mataji, I'm sorry, you have to also tell me your name before you ask the question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'm Archana.
Archana. Hare Krishna.
Very nice lecture, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Just adding to this point only, in this material world, I don't think so that we can be happy or we are, satisfied unless we devote our senses and mind to the lotus feet of Krishna. Because from his lotus feet, the ultimate satisfaction comes. So if we devote our senses to him, because he is called as Rishikesh, he is the controller and master of senses, so automatically our senses will be controlled and then we can live a content life.
Thank you.
That's what I feel.
Is there any verse in Bhagavatam that says? Savai?
Okay.
Savai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhyokshije ahaituki apratiyata. Bhagavatam doesn't talk about how your tongue is happy, your mind is happy, your entire soul is happy. So it's 1:12. I don't remember. 1:16. Sorry. 1:26. Thank you. 1:26. 1:26. Thank you. Kindly everybody repeat after me. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Can you turn off the mic, please? Thank you. Translation. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. So is that Archana kind of answers? Yeah. So one of the so next step is how can we cultivate satisfaction in our day-to-day lives? Shall we discuss a little bit about that? Okay. So there are a few things. One thing is that Krishna says it's in the Bhagavad Gita that austerity of mind consists on trying to be happy or satisfied. The mind says that I'm not satisfied, but when you deliberately think about the nature of this material world and how your mind's demands are, then there is a certain amount. So this is an austerity that one has to practice, saying that it's better to be satisfied than to do something rash. People have tried that, it really didn't work out. Any questions on that? It's something that, yes, Dhira Prashant Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I think we talked about quite a few interesting words in this lecture. Satisfaction, desire, sense objects, right? I mean, we talked about all this. I'm still confused because sometimes I act according to the situation. Sometimes the spiritual thing comes into me and I restrain myself. So I think my question is specifically about dwelling on sense objects, right? The reason I say this, my father was here a few months ago and we were having some conversation and then he said, wow, I see you're chanting regularly, it's all good, and then he asked me so are you completely surrendered? And so I know he was up to something, so I tried to give an honest answer saying, no, I'm not, right? And then he says, on one end, I see you're doing this chanting and all this is good, but then on the other end, you say, okay, I need to get a, house in whatever, in US, you want a flat in Bangalore, why don't you just not worry about all these things, right? Why don't you just focus? So my question is, so at times, right, we try to get some satisfaction or happiness in pursuing some sensory things. And I think we need to do that, otherwise we are in bigger trouble with whatever, with wife, with other family members, right? So, but actually I was reading chapter 3 the other day, and then in 3.6, Krishna blatantly says, if you do this, you're in duality. And he basically doesn't recommend that. So, but the thing is, how do we face this, dichotomy, right? How do we go about, like eventually trying to get to trance or single point of thought, spiritual and material perspective.
So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita in the 12th chapter that always think of me. He says, Maya avesha manapartha. Mai bhaktim nivesha, right? Is the same verse? No. 8:12, please, Bhagavad Gita. Yes. How can you meet Krishna for real life? He's right there. No, he's actually there. If you intensely talk to him, he will talk to you. You can ask your dad. I'm not lying. All right. 12:8. Sorry, my apologies. 12:8. 12:8. So, Mayeva manadastva, Mayi buddhim niveshaya, nivashasya Mayeva ata urdvam na samshaya. If you see the translation, just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will always live in me without a doubt. Krishna is saying, always think of me here, right? But what if I can't think of Krishna? Then I'm a loser. Krishna is saying, you think of me or you're a loser. You're good for nothing. No, in the next verse he says, translation, please. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga. In this way, develop a desire to attain me. And in the next verse, he again says something, if you can't even do that, then what are you going to do? If you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Can I do something? Even I can't do, then what? If, however, you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act, giving up all results of your work, and try to be self-situated. So if you can see, there are gradations. Krishna is not saying you are just what you are. He is so compassionate, he can understand what is our position in life, and then he is giving that flexibility. If you can't do this, then at least do this. So that is kind of thing. So Dhira Prashant Prabhu, you can say that everybody is in various stages of life, and everybody has their own psycho-physical needs from past lives, their family situation. There is so many time, place, circumstances. There are so many things at play. You cannot just kind of say goodbye to everything and then just go live as a homeless. Krishna is not recommending that, right? Is that helpful? Tadiya Seva Prabhu, yes.
Prabhu, in the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is Dukhi Krishnadas, and because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu blessed him to be Sukhi Krishnadas, he was able to go from Dukhi to Sukhi. So in material world, most of the people, conditioned souls, are in some form of unhappiness, dissatisfied in various ways, in various capacities, in various levels. Let's say somebody asks a hypothetical question, hey, I am Dukhi today. If I want to go from Dukhi to Sukhi, can you give me a medicine or can you give me a time frame, where the stage of Dukhi can become a stage of Sukhi? Thank you, Prabhu.
It's a question or?
It's a question, Prabhu.
Okay. Time frame. Okay. Sorry, I have Kali Yuga brains, so I don't. So we are in this material world, and each of us has a story. Each of us has been journeying in this world since time immemorial. Each of us has been in many different situations and forms. So to say that there is a universal time frame that you can come out of this material existence is kind of impractical. But here is the deal though. For those who take to the path of pure devotional service or bhakti to Krishna, your karma is completely destroyed. There is an immediate relief from the suffering of this material existence. Now, when will it fructify and how it will fructify is up to Krishna. But there is a guaranteed thing that within a very short time, you have seen many devotees, Tadiya Seva Prabhu, and within a short time, they lose some aspect of their interest in material life. One of the common things I found is that, even for a few days in Krishna consciousness, the mundane music doesn't appeal too much. You would rather hear the glorification of Krishna or the kirtans. So it's an immediate thing, it can happen. But because I have been in this material world since time immemorial, I don't even know for how many quadrillion, you can't even count the number of births that we have been through here. And so much baggage in each birth. It will take time to wash out. But the fact of the matter is, Krishna is saying that even if you do a little bit, even if you kind of come to one verse of Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, the soul never dies, it's such a relief. That this constant dying and living is something, it is not me. It is happening to my body, I'm fine. At least you have that basic comfort when you read Bhagavad Gita or when you pursue spiritual life. And when you say to Krishna that I surrender unto you, even once, it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita, quoted in Ramayana, it's Madhya 22:34. Let's look up that particular verse. And you know what? Today, let's all really try this. Maybe we can really get the grace of Krishna. Verse number 34, please. Click on that, yeah. Kindly repeat after me. This is Lord Ram's words. It's not the words of some politician, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we have complete faith. Sakrudeva prapannoyas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadam yetadvritam mama. Achyuta Kumar Prabhu, please do the translation.
It is my vow that if one seriously surrenders unto me, saying, My dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I shall immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on.
So today when you go for kirtan, you just pray to the Lord like that. From today on, I am yours. And just see the effect, how Krishna protects. It's just that assurance from Krishna is good enough to traverse. When does he take us out of this material existence? It is his prerogative. I'm not going to ask him, but if his will is that I need to suffer here for a few more lifetimes, so be it. I just need to be in association of devotees, have his darshan, take his prasad, and chant his names. I am guaranteed I'll go back. Because even a dog in this material world can understand the affection that you give. Yes or yes? With all due respects, and forgive me dog owners, these are not very high class animals. They are affectionate pets, don't get me wrong. But if a basic animal can reciprocate, how much infinitely more the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is extremely sensitive to your love and to your service, not reciprocate or not be touched by your service or not be touched by your devotion. Of course he is. It's just a matter of time. He has his own sweet will on how to deliver the conditioned souls. He has his own plan. So rest assured, Tadiya Seva Prabhu, it's going to happen. You've been a devotee for so many years. You had to undergo so many situations in your life. Yet you are here today. Krishna is taking note of that. Okay? Thank you. I have just 5 more minutes. So, the other way to cultivate satisfaction is to perform devotional service to Krishna. As we brought up this verse, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharma. And if one best way is, there is, in temple we have so many activities that we do, and you can engage yourself in certain activities, and that will give you great satisfaction. You know. Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu and Manjari Gopika Mataji, they go on book distribution every Saturday. They go on Sundays. He goes to the class on Sundays at San Bruno. They have Friday Stanford programs. They come to Thursday, have Thursday Bhakti Vriksha. And then, recently we had Vyas Puja at home. They had to rush to Stanford program. They didn't even have time to kind of wait. They are so busy doing service. So I'm deeply grateful for your services. You should tell us, are you feeling satisfied, or are is it like you're doing it for a lot of money, you're getting a lot of money in there or something like that? Because please understand, both of them are software engineers in Silicon Valley. So it's not like they are getting $1 per month. So you should tell me, are you satisfied a little bit, Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu or Manjari Gopi Mataji? You should tell your own realization about being satisfied. We just have 3-4 minutes.
Not expecting this. But the reason for service is just the inspiration from other devotees. Seeing other devotees being so sincere, serving Srila Prabhupada's mission, serving their spiritual master, serving Radha Madan Mohan, that itself gives so much impetus to serve all the other Vaishnavas and serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. Regarding satisfaction, my personal view is that as it started with, it will come by its own accord. The one thing that we have to do, as you mentioned, the start is to do our best, and but focus. If we focus our life around Krishna, then we will be more satisfied, and we see by seeing the other Vaishnavas, especially yourself. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Manjari, you had a few words before we can.
Prabhuji, from your lecture you mentioned like how this body itself is a disease. And we don't have to wait for disease or old age, things like that. I think when you realize that, then you understand that we have to try to, when you understand this, then you know that who's the center of life, Krishna, and I think what pleases Krishna is to serve Vaishnavas. So, and you can see that in any service that you do for Vaishnavas now, especially selfless service, there is definitely some happiness you get from within. So there is something, and even if you become a millionaire, billionaire, that won't give you any satisfaction, which we know that it's very temporary anyways.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, we take that attitude of gratitude. Part of that satisfaction is actually to really, Krishna has given us this place where we are. And like it or not, we could have, for example, you could have had millions of decisions, Natalie, to do in your life. But, you are where you are by Krishna's mercy. And then I'll take it from here to do my best, Otherwise, life can be filled with regrets and, just depression and past bad choices, past bad experience. Life just becomes miserable because that guilt really doesn't do any good. Okay, yes, past was past, gone is gone. Future I haven't seen, but this today that I have, I can use it in service for Krishna and do the best I can. And with that attitude, if you progress, then please understand that if as much as the negative experiences nobody wants and they get it, so are the positive experiences. It's a fact. Nobody goes out to kind of, nobody says, what did you do today for fun? Oh, I went around in hospitals. Why? Why did you go to? I was hoping to get some, bacteria, E. coli bacteria. Huh? But if it is in your destiny to get it, you will get it no matter what. So you don't have to search for it. You don't search for negative things like that. Same is the case with positive. If there is, you keep doing your due diligence, if the positive has to come, it will come. You're like, oh, really? I didn't expect this. How did it come? It comes. So, any final questions, comments, concerns before we stop? I'm sorry we didn't have a bhajan today. There was an involved discussion. If the devotees felt that this lecture was more painful than having a root canal, then I would have had a bhajan probably. But I am deeply grateful to every single one of the devotees who came today and patiently listening to the class. And the next stage of the program is Aarti, where we take all the asanas and put it in the back, and then we'll have a beautiful Aarti for Krishna. And then when you are doing the Aarti, please remember to pray to Krishna to give you strength and courage. And he definitely will give you the strength and courage. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki, Shriman Mahaprabhu ki, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Hare Krishna.